Hey there, it's Liana. Today I'm going to be making Santa bread for you. What you're going to need 5 cups of bread flour, 1 cup of whole wheat or rye flour. You're going to need 2 1/4 cups of warm water. It's important that the warm is exactly 100 degrees but does not exceed 110 degrees, otherwise the yeast does not activate properly. 1 package of active dry yeast, 1 tablespoon of coarse salt, 2 eggs, some coconut, red food coloring, 2 raisins, and some light colored jelly. It can be peach jelly, apricot jelly, pear, or pineapple as long as it's light colored. All right, now we're going to add our 2 flours. And 1 flour, and our other flour. Once we've got those 2 in, we're gonna put our salt and yeast in. You just need 1 little pack of yeast like this. They come with 3 packs at the store. Just rip it on open, throw the whole thing on in there. You can get it open. Okay, now once you've got that in, you're gonna do your 1 tablespoon of coarse salt. And with all your dry ingredients together, you're just gonna mix them together. I'm just gonna use a whisk like this. Just mix them all up, make sure they're all nice, evenly distributed within the bowl. You're gonna add your 2 1/4 cup of water. Just gonna pour it right in there. After you do that, you're gonna take your dough cutter. You can use beaters with a dough attachment. I don't have that, so we're gonna be using this by hand. You're just gonna be going through the dough like this, using this circular motion. It's gonna start getting tough, folks, but just hang in there. It takes a lot of work to get there, but you know, end results are always the best. Just such a cute little Santa. I mean, the kids I babysit for, they love this little thing. It's just adorable. They can have fun making it. Once they eat it, it tastes good too. You can even put butter on it. Putting butter on Santa, it's fun stuff. So you're gonna clean this off. All right, let's throw everything on in there. And now I'm gonna start using my hands. We're just gonna throw it all together. Start kneading it, pulling it all together into a nice little ball thing. Now, I'm starting to form it into a ball as I scrape the outer edges with my hands. Now, if you had beaters, this would be a little bit easier, but you would have to get dirty once in a while. You're gonna take some plastic wrap and you're gonna cover it for about 40 minutes. Just cover that nice and tight. Let the yeast activate, let it get all big and puffy, nice and fun to play with. We're gonna set this aside. Now we're going to take some flour. We're gonna sprinkle it all upon our counter. Just get it a nice little coating. Add a little bit more, you know, never go wrong with too much flour. I've set some dough aside to rise while we were waiting. So I'm gonna go ahead, grab this, and we're gonna plop it right onto our flour. Once we've got it all kneaded and pretty, we're gonna put it into a little formation, try and make it as even as possible. And we're gonna split it into thirds. We're gonna do 1 cut and 2 cuts. So we're gonna take these apart and set this aside. Now we've got our 1/3 piece that we set aside, and we're gonna split this one into fourths. So I'm gonna cut it in half. And then we're gonna cut it into fourths. Once we've got these into fourths, we're gonna shape 2 of them into balls. So we're gonna shape this one into a ball. It's not gonna go into a perfect ball, but it'll be as good as it's gonna get. Once we've got it nice and pretty into a ball, like so, I'm gonna set that aside and make this one into a ball. With our 2 remaining quarters, we're going to flatten both of them out. These are both gonna become the eyes, the mustache, and the beard, and the hat brim. Okay, got our 2 pieces flattened out, and now we can make our eyeballs, our nose, and our beard, and hat brim. Mustache also. I've got 1 into a rectangle, and I've got 1 into an elongated snake type figure. With our rectangle, we're going to cut it in 2 little sections. I'm not gonna cut all the way up. I'm just gonna make little cuts all along, like so. And this is going to become Santa's beard. So, now that I've got this cut, I am going to lay this onto Santa on the bottom half. And we're just gonna lay it right across his face, like that. And now we got our mustache, hat brim, and eyeballs. I'm gonna cut right about here for Santa's hat brim, and right about here for Santa's mustache. And these 2, or this one, is gonna become 2 for the eyeballs. First, we're gonna take the hat brim, and we are gonna lay it about halfway down on Santa, so right about there. Then we're gonna take his mustache, and we are gonna do the same thing we did for the beard. We're gonna pat it down first, though, make it a little bit longer. And once we've got it a little bit longer, it's starting to puff up. Same thing we did with the beard. Just make little indents all the way up. Not all the way up, but just like the beard. Pinch these outer edges together and lay it on Santa, like so. Okay, then we've got our two little things. We're just gonna circle them all up, make them into little balls. Once again, it's all right for them to be at different sizes. It's okay. All right, now we've got our little balls, and we're just gonna set them right here, right underneath the hat brim. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of water to attach all of our pieces. I'm gonna start with the beard. The beard doesn't really need some water, but I'm gonna take the top end of the beard and I'm going to poke it into the sides of Santa's head. Make sure he's kind of one with Santa's head. And the bottom pieces, I am going to tuck under the bottom of Santa's head. So they're all just kind of wrapped around. And then I'm going to take the mustache and I'm going to stretch and stretch and stretch all the way to the outer edges of Santa. And I'm going to poke these into the outside edges as well. Now for the eyeballs, I'm going to take a little bit of water, dab it on the bottom, and just stick it on there and kind of smush it in as much as you can. A little bit of water through the other one, and smush it on in. I'm going to place a little bit of water underneath the middle of the mustache as well, just to make sure it sticks nice in place. Then we've got our balls. We're going to put our nose right here in the middle, right on top. Wah-bam, just like that. Beautiful. And we're going to take a little bit of water for our hat brim. A little bit of, sticky stuff. Lay it right there and tuck this underneath. And then we're going to take our other ball. For our hat, get a little bit of water for this one. And smack it on there, right onto the end of Santa's hat. And ta-da! All your pieces are assembled. Now once you've got our pieces assembled, we're going to give Santa a rest. He's taking quite a beating today. So we're just going to cover him up with some saran wrap, like so. And he's just going to sit here for 15 minutes to let rise. I have preheated my oven to 400 degrees and transferred my Santa to a cooking sheet so we can put it in the oven. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our 2 eggs and I'm going to crack them into one bowl. All right, here we go. Cross your fingers. And we got it! Some of another one. All right, here we go. Put it in. And ta-da! Now we're going to whisk our egg yolks together. You don't need your whites anymore. So we're just going to set these aside and whisk these together. All right, once they're all good and mixed up, take this little guy out of here. And we're going to remove the plastic from our Santa. Oh, he's just so big and puffy. Good night's rest. Okay, take our little brusher and we are just going to brush the beard and mustache of Santa Claus. Just going to brush it on there. Don't need too much. Just right on the top of his beard. You don't want to get too much underneath because then it doesn't look as pretty. Alrighty-roo. Once we've got that, now we're going to add some red food coloring. We're just going to do a couple drops into the yolks. Just as much as you think you need. I think I did 8 drops right there. Should be good. All right, perfect. Now we've got our red color for our hat and the tip of his nose. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to brush it all over his hat. I'm not going to do the brim, however, because the brim of his hat we're going to put the jam on and the coconut later, so it'll look like fur. So we're just going to brush this on, get it nice and pretty looking. It's alright if you get it on the brim or the puff ball, because we can just cover that up later. Make sure you get all the way down on the sides. Alright, and what I like to do is I like to add a little bit to the tip of his nose and on his cheeks. So, looks like it's cold outside. Give him a little bit of color. Alright, so we got a little bit of color going on his nose and a little thing on his cheeks. And voila! Santa Claus is now colored. Now I'm going to take our 2 raisins from our bowl and we're just going to put them right in the middle of the Santa Claus's eyes for his pupils. Doesn't hurt him too much. He's not alive yet, so don't worry about that. Anyways, all right, we've got our raisins in the eyeballs, and now Santa is ready to cook. All right, so now we've got Santa all finished up. We're gonna throw him in the oven. Santa's in the oven. He's gonna stay in there for about 40 minutes to an hour until it sounds hollow when you knock on it. All right, I set aside a Santa earlier, already baked. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our apricot jam. I've melted it a little bit so it's at the right consistency for me to spread on. I'm gonna go ahead and brush it on the hat brim. Just brush it all over there. Oops, it's all right if it gets on his eyes. And once we've got it all spread on there, I'm going to take the coconut and I'm going to gently place, oops, it's all right if there's a little extra, gently place on Santa's brim so it's supposed to look like the fur. Just get a nice little coating, make sure you get all the way down here. It's all right if some falls off. It's okay. All right, now we're going to do the same for the ball of Santa's hat. Just brush it all nice and pretty. All right, once you've got all the jam on there, place your coconut. Pat that on there. And it's a little messy, but it's okay. You take it off the cookie sheet, set it on a platter, hand it to your kids. It's good to go. They cut into Santa for the holidays. Put some butter on Santa. You can't live without the butter. And voila, you got a beautiful Santa bread ready to share with your family or your kids. Ta-da!